Hello everyone and welcome to Coach's Corner. I'm Ryley McNeeley and I'm here with the Plymouth State Women's Head Lacrosse Coach, Coach Sandy Bridgemen. Coach, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Of course. Coach, looking at your season so far, your team is doing very well. Although you just came back from a tough loss against Middlebury, your team put up a great fight. What do you think your players learned from last game and how can they use that in the future for the conference matchups?
Well, as you said, that was a tough competition. Middlebury is number 1 in the country. So I think, first of all, for us as a program, taking on and seeing what that's like, playing such the top competition in the country is an experience that we can certainly build on. It's probably going to be the best offense, best defense, most speed, the best team that we play all year. So I think the fact that you get to get on the field and compete, and that's what I felt like we did. We played for complete 60 minutes and challenged. And granted, there were different parts of the game that they dominated us, but I still think there were little wins within the game, that's what we focused on. And that we take out of that. But I think just being able to compete and feel like you did compete with that level player competition, all of that really is something that we're going to take moving forward as far as hey, you've played against the best teams. You've been out there. Same thing with, we played Middlebury, Colby, and Bowdoin, who are all top 20 teams. And I think that experience and going against that kind of competition, there's little wins within it that you can build on, and that's what we take out of that.
Absolutely. I think those harder games in the schedule will definitely help you in the future for the conference games. Now looking at your freshman class, I've noticed how successful they've been, especially on attack. What has been so successful for them on the field and what makes that class so special?
Yeah, they're a fun group, and I think we're a young team overall, but I think particularly, generally we've been starting 3 freshmen out of the 12, and they've come in and just kind of taken over and assimilated into what we're trying to do. Certainly still things to improve on and grow with, but they've also shown a tendency to just come in and play. And I think that's what makes them special. They're not kind of deferring to, I'm a freshman, I really shouldn't be out here starting or doing this or that. They've just taken it on and have really seized the opportunity. And I know particularly Julia Donovan, Maddie Hunt has been starting for us, Elle Mosher. And just on the attacking end, again, I think there's almost a youthfulness in seeing what's there and taking advantage of it and seizing the opportunity.
Absolutely. With such a young team, how has your team progressed this season so far?
The thing I keep saying almost after every game, we're a work in progress. And there's from that very first game through just the one we just played. And our goal is to try to keep building on what we're doing. And I think particularly being a young team, you kind of go back to the fundamentals and coaching-wise, really starting with those things what we're about. And certainly we have upperclassmen that always model that. We always talk about attitude and effort. And that's, I think, what a lot of our program starts with. No matter what the competition is that we're playing, we control our own attitude, our own effort every time out and response. So I think that's something that even though we're young, we have great returners that model that to start with in practice, not just games. So I think that's been a key to what we're trying to build on, getting better every day, some of those little goals that we set, and just trying to make progress, but we're still a work in progress for sure.
I couldn't agree with you more. You did bring up Julia Donovan, who's a freshman. She's leading your team with points right now. Is there anybody else we should look out for this season on attack or anywhere on the field?
Yeah, good question. So Julia has done a really nice job and gotten off to a great start offensively. I would say also a great deal of our offense goes through Emily Santum, Olivia Croak, both that are juniors, returning attackers, and bring just a level of experience and probably a pretty good lacrosse IQ to what we're doing there. A lot of our midfielders between Julia Mahoney and Devin Mello really are kind of the backbone. They are tireless in their effort with what they do. But they really kind of control the midfield for us. And defensively, that unit is coming together and really starting to gel. And I'm always kind of look at myself first as a defensive-minded coach. So I like what I see from that group. Granted, that's an area that we lost. We graduated a lot of 5 players last year, and I feel like we have some that's really coming together, along with Piper Sherbert in goal, new to goal for us. So that part of the field is really coming together, and I think has really gelled quite a bit. Again, we certainly got tested with Middlebury and their execution and speed of things, but I feel like that part of the field, the defensive part of the field, has come together for us really well.
That's very exciting. You have a very talented team, and I'm excited to see what you guys do in the future. Turning the page to this weekend, what do you think your team needs to bring Saturday to secure a win against UMass Dartmouth?
Yeah, well, I think just coming out and focusing on our goals, what we want to achieve. There's also, this is our first conference game of the season, so that brings in with it, as far as we're kind of going into a new phase, taking what we've learned from these earlier games, non-conference ones, and really honing in on, okay, LEC, conference games, and just really coming out strong. I know as a team we like to come out fast. And take pride in really going off the initial draw control. And that's a stat that UMass Dartmouth also does a nice job off the draw. So that'll be one little battle right from the start. But I think if we come out and just keep focused on how we want to play up and down the field, minimizing turnovers, maximizing our offensive possessions, I feel like that's what our focus will be.
Right. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Coach, and best of luck this Saturday.
Thank you. I appreciate it.